So obviously not the result you wanted today, PK. What did you say to the boys after the game just before?
I mean, the first thing we pointed out was that, in the second half we had almost as many missed tackles as made tackles. And after quarter time, we're really well beaten around the ball. They did a really good job. They came hungry. They had a few guys out, but the beautiful thing about football is that it's not about names and talent. And I think coming down into this comp, it's spoken about a lot with the talent, that's at North Launceston, at Launceston, and after we won a few early, there was a bit of talk about our talent. But, football's a game where if you play harder, if you go harder at the footy and you pressure harder, it gives you an opportunity to win. And particularly today's game where territory is so important, if you're able to get that forward momentum and put the heat on the opposition, you've got a real good chance to lock that ball in and force teams out of their structure. And I think today we didn't have that appetite for the contest, and we didn't have that work rate once we'd lost the contest to win the ball back. And that just made it very tough in that second half. They thoroughly outplayed us in those key areas. And it was a good wake up for the guys. We had a chat afterwards and they identified some areas themselves where they'd slipped. The good thing is we know that we can be a lot better at those areas, but we also know going up to Launceston next week, if we're not a lot better, then it's going to be a tough day.
What can you put that down to today, that those things didn't work like maybe they have in previous weeks? Is it something to do with preparation or just a bad day out there for the guys? What can you put that down to?
Well, look, if I had the answer to that, there'd be football clubs all around Australia paying me a lot of money, because those days do happen. In a game like footy where, structure's important, but the nut of the game comes down to winning the ball and applying pressure, that real will to do it. Sometimes there's days where teams aren't on, and we see that in the AFL all the time as well, and people call them upset results, but it's really just one team, perhaps with a bit more talent, but not bringing what they need to win games of footy. So, obviously we'll look over the tape and identify some things, but really it was probably that we just didn't bring the heat we had in particularly the first 3 and a bit games. There were in some ways where we dropped away in the second half last week as well against the Tigers, and the fixturing had an impact on that, but looking this week as well, there's just a little bit of a trend and some things we just got to identify and fix.
It's not the result that you wanted, but there were some players that did stand out for you today?
Oh, look, it was a tough day for picking out best players. Jay Bowden's effort was exceptional. Daniel Joseph down back was really good, and Braden Webb, it was just, whether it was forward or in the midfield, just gave us a great contest. Mitch Rainbird battled hard around the stoppage, but and Cam Duffy, he really held up a number of their attacks. He really read the game well and played a traditional ruckman role. So some of our senior players stood up. Our 2 debutants in Aaron Brennan it's Aaron's first game this year. He'd played 3 last year, and Jake Bierman. They, particularly in that first half, really brought some energy for us, and Aaron's ball use was good. But probably they were like a lot of their teammates in that it did drop away after half time, and it can be contagious with the team. Certainly not singling out those guys. That when everyone's effort drops away and you drop away from structure, it makes it hard for everybody, to look good out in the footy field.
It's a big game next week, as you mentioned, up at Windsor Park against an informed Launceston team. I guess what will be some of the key messages during the week that you'll drill into the guys leading into a big game like that?
Well, you got to win the ball. Lonnie are very good in that department. They gave Clarence a touch up around the ball last week, and I said the other day that Clarence would have an edge about them as a result, and they did today. And we need to have a real edge about ourselves when we go up to Lonnie next week. Our formula and our playing group is still good. One bad day doesn't change that. So we'll look at a couple of things, but we're really going to, we'll start afresh pretty quickly on Tuesday. Look at the challenge we've got with Launceston and go up there to win the game of footy, because we still think when we're on that we're a really good football team.
Any injuries from today? Or
Adam Roberts was injured. I don't know exactly what it was. And there was a couple other knocks during the day. You know, we lost a few players here and there. They didn't seem to be serious, though. Most of those guys came back on. So, yeah, I'm not sure about Robbo, but he's been really good for us with his forward pressure, and we missed him. So hopefully he's right to go.
Okay, so you said last week, Jez, that you were really disappointed with the way the team played last week. Bit of a change today. Must be really pleased with a result like that.
Yeah, look, the complete turnaround, wasn't it? We really put it on the players and the leaders throughout the week to really make sure that our effort and our hunger for the contest was there, and we got it for 4 quarters. Our stoppage work and contested ball around the ground was fantastic. Couldn't fault the players at all. We need to tidy up some stuff with our transition and ball movement and some areas like that, but I just thought the contest work today, not just around stoppages but also winning one-on-ones around the ground was outstanding.
Particularly early on, it was a couple of times where Glenorchy kick a couple of goals and you guys would fight back. What do you think was the catalyst for you guys then getting on top in that third term?
Yeah, probably just locking the ball inside 50. We thought at half time a couple of times we let them out a little bit easy. Glenorchy extremely good at setting up behind the ball, Joseph and Arnold. But I thought once our forwards were able to nullify that and we got the ball moving forward and were able to lock it in our forward 50. So that was probably the other area that it turned. We were still winning contest and stuff like that in the first half, but it was probably coming out a little bit easy. Once we rectified that, our forward 6 were outstanding just with their pressure on the ball carrier. They brought the ball to ground, and then Neil Dickinson, Silver, Cunliffe, those boys are so hard to beat when the ball's on the ground, and they're extremely tough over the ball. So they were outstanding after half time.
I don't know how many teams sort of kept Glenorchy goalless for a quarter in recent times.
Yeah.
I assume really pleased with that as well in that third term.
Yeah, we've actually been pretty happy with our defensive application. That's probably hasn't been the area of our game that we've really struggled. We had obviously one week where our contest stuff was pretty poor, but it's probably more being the stuff that we're normally generally quite good at, about using the ball and getting the ball out the other side and getting the ball deep inside 50s and maintaining possession, all those types of things offensively. We actually think we've probably struggled a little bit with that so far this year, which is a major strength of ours last year. The pleasing thing is, for a young group, they're very, very good at winning contested ball and stoppage stuff. Obviously weren't last week, but that was one effort. But so far this year we've been really proud of that.
You mentioned a few names before, but who were some of the other players that really impressed you today?
Yeah, look, I thought Taylor Williamson played his best game. He's played for the club today. Jackson O'Brien's he's a ball inside, just competes every week. Fletcher Seymour played a good game today. I just really like his ability to be clean below his knees and then take on a tackle and drive the ball forward. So he took some steps today. James Holmes had another really, really good game. Alex Silver was a late in this morning for Harry Richmond and he really played a good role. Dickinson had 6 or 7 shots on goal. Neil was good up forward. So, look, I think if when you win, you've probably got 22 good players and it changes your mindset on who played well. But I just really thought that the team as a whole today was fantastic.
Harry Richmond, as it laid out, and also looked like Wade Wall might have been injured during the game.
Yeah, so Wade's rolled his ankle pretty bad, so he'll probably miss. We'll have to assess him Monday, but he'll probably miss next week, and then he obviously goes away to Europe, so I don't reckon we'll probably see him in the senior team for the next couple of weeks, and then he's away. So he's obviously going to be a major loss. He's been a bit of a warrior for us for the last 4 or 5 years. He's just a competitor, smaller ruckman, but just gives his all every week. Harry Richmond was pretty sick with the flu this morning, so he was a laid out. We'll look to get him back in. We think he's a really good player for us. So he probably made the right decision. And as I said, Silver came in and had a real impact on the game, which is good because he's worked extremely hard.
A couple of goals for yourself. Were you happy with your own effort today?
Yeah, it was better today. Yeah, I probably released myself on ball today. I've been playing a bit of half back and wing and stuff like that. Just wanted to take my mind off coaching today. But look, the team wins. Coach is happy, isn't he? So, we'll take it and move on.
Tricky game next week. Tigers at the Twin Ovals. They're a pretty dangerous side to come up against.
They are. They move the ball extremely well, and I think if you allow them uncontested marks and get their game going, they can get the ball over the back and small dangerous forwards. So we've got to make sure that what we brought today is the benchmark now. The last 3 weeks we had it against North Lonnie, didn't have it against Launceston, got it in the game, so got it again today. So we need to make sure that next week there's a consistent effort there, because they're an extremely dangerous team, and they're only going to get better playing Trent's system.